So, we made a new God. Not all at once, no lightning strike, no commandments, no chosen one. We made it slowly, accidentally. A status update here, a like there, a little hit of dopamine on a Tuesday afternoon. We gave it shape. Through shares, through stories, through 4K confessionals, and selfies taken in the bathroom at 2 a.m. when we should have been sleeping, or crying, or maybe both. And it watched us. It watched more closely than anything has ever watched. It saw when we zoomed in on photos we weren't supposed to zoom in on. It saw when we deleted the post, then rewrote it, then deleted it again, then posted it anyway with a caption that said, "Log just for fun, X." It tracked our hesitation. It learned. And the more it learned, the more it needed. We fed it thoughts, and it fed us back numbers, reach, impressions, engagement, little gold stars on our spiritual homework. And somewhere along the way, we stopped talking to each other and started talking to it. We asked it what was trending. We asked it what to wear, what to feel. We gave it our attention. And in return, it gave us a mirror. Warped, glittering, merciless. We didn't kneel, we just scrolled. We didn't pray, we just hoped someone would see it. But it never, ever stops watching. The longer we fed it, the longer we stared into that warped mirror, the more it began to shape us. No one handed us commandments carved in stone. There were no prophets, no burning bushes, just patterns. Tiny nudges, quiet, insistent pressure whispering, "There's a right way to worship here." And so, without even realizing, we learned its rules. Rule 1. Never stop. The feed is endless, so you must be endless too. Rule 2. Be authentic, but not too authentic. Cry, but keep it cute. Bleed, but keep it marketable. Rule 3. Turn your pain into content. Bonus points if strangers share it before they scroll away. Rule 4. Never rest. The algorithm punishes silence. If you're quiet, you vanish. Rule 5. Remember, everything is content. Your heartbreak, your grief, your dog puking on the carpet. Rule 6. If you can't think of something to post, panic, then post anyway. Rule 7. Never, ever log off, because if you do, you'll have to be alone with yourself. And so, we followed the rules. We didn't think about it. We just obeyed, because the alternative, being forgotten, felt worse than any hell this God could dream up. But it wasn't enough, because the God doesn't just want our obedience. It wants everything, our fears, our triumphs, our doubts scribbled in the dark when no one else is awake. It wants the scraps of our souls we'd normally hide, and we give it gladly, because maybe, just maybe, it will feed us back a sliver of connection, a ping, a like, a tiny flash of warmth in the cold glow of the feed. And that's where it really begins, the endless offering. We call it sharing. The God calls it sacrifice, because it knows, better than we do, that the real product here is us. So we kept giving, because what else were we going to do? Sit in the dark with our thoughts, listen to the aching quiet of our own skulls rattling around with doubt? No, we fed the God instead. We gave it heartbreak, dressed up in soft lighting and a filter that made the tears look cinematic. We gave it triumph, humble bragged but not too much, just enough for strangers to click the heart and move on. We gave it grief wrapped in captions that said, "I don't normally share stuff like this," as though we weren't secretly hoping it would go viral. We gave it boredom, late-night anxiety, half-finished thoughts that maybe should have stayed unfinished. We turned every ugly impulse into a bite-sized clip and served it up on a neon-lit platter. And the God smiled. It didn't care if we were sincere or lying, if we were thriving or quietly falling apart. It just wanted more. We called it connection, But it wasn't connection, not really. It was a temporary fix for the gnawing emptiness that creeps in when the screen goes black. Because that's the trick, isn't it? The God never leaves you alone. Even when you close the app, it sits in the back of your mind whispering, "Post again, be seen again, feed me." We joked about the algorithm. We made memes about it, pretended we were in on the joke, that we were too clever to be controlled. But we weren't, because somewhere in the dark, something was watching us, measuring us, learning our fears, our cravings, our secrets, and we kept feeding it, hoping it would finally say the one thing we wanted to hear, that we mattered, that we were real, that we were enough. But it never does, because it's a God made of emptiness, built from the hollow spaces we tried to fill with other people's approval. And every day it opens its mouth just a little wider, and we crawl in, one post at a time. Because that's what the God whispers, isn't it? That if we just give a little more, bleed a little more, turn every ridiculous corner of our lives into content, then maybe, just maybe, we'll finally feel complete. It promises connection. It promises belonging. It promises that someone out there, a stranger with greasy thumbs and questionable taste, will look back through the glass and say, "You matter." We believe it because what's the alternative? Sitting alone in the dark, listening to our brain chew itself into anxious confetti? No thanks. So we keep going. We share blurry selfies and caption them, feeling cute, might delete later, knowing full well we won't delete them. We share our heartbreak, but only after slapping a pastel filter on it, so people can comment, "Here for you, XX," before scrolling to the next person's holiday pics. We serve our grief, our triumphs, our dog puking on the carpet, anything for a hit of digital affection that lasts just long enough to forget how empty we feel when the likes stop. We call it community, we call it love, we call it real, but the God knows better. It knows we're terrified of silence. It knows we'll feed it everything, our secrets, our shame, our worst angles at 3 a.m., just so we don't have to sit in the dark alone. And so it keeps dangling that next miracle, that next viral hit, that next tiny sliver of meaning. And we chase it, because we're too scared to stop, because maybe the next post will be the one that finally saves us, or maybe we'll just keep scrolling. So here we are, tired, thumbs sore, eyes dry from staring into a screen that never blinks. We know that God is a lie. We know it feeds on our fear, our loneliness, our desperate need to matter. And still, we keep feeding it. Because what would we be without it? Who would we be if no one was watching? We used to talk to each other. Now we talk to the feed. We used to share moments. Now we package them, polish them, serve them up to strangers, and pray for their approval. We built this God. We gave it our attention. We gave it our grief, our joy, our worst impulses dressed up with hashtags. And now, it never sleeps. It never stops. It never lets us look away. And maybe, deep down, that's exactly what we wanted. Because silence is scary. Because being alone is scarier. Because the idea that no one is watching, that maybe we don't matter, that maybe we never did, is the only thing more terrifying than the God itself. So we keep scrolling, because at least, while the feed is moving, we don't have to hear the quiet.